Good morning and welcome to the Southeast Conference 55th Annual Meeting Workshop Session number 2. I am Elise Morris and I will be your tech host for this workshop. This workshop session is Effective Branding and Ministry Worship Experience. I have the pleasure of introducing the presenter for this session. Creative Art Director Maurice Cook of EM Designs Group is borderline obsessive about preparing his creative disciplines and branding strategies with the more technical skills required for successful digital marketing. His devotion to creative talent has helped bring digital experiences to life by merging powerful branding with innovative technology. It is a philosophy that motivates fresh ideas that integrate into customers' connected lifestyles. Please welcome Maurice Cook, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being a part of the workshop on today. It's good to see you all early. I've already had my coffee, so I'm ready to go. Hopefully you had yours as well too. I will share my screen with you all. I have a presentation I've put together, and what I'll do is I'll read along as we're presenting, and if you have any questions, you can always just chime in and ask me a question, or you can just send it in the chat as well. I have that up, but you just ask a question. We'll keep it very interactive, but I have everything lined up on a PowerPoint presentation, so as I share that and we go through things, you can pause and ask a question if you like, and I'll just keep moving. The other thing too I would like to add too is that so I am recently married, so I am Maurice Robinson Cook. Just want to let you all know. So yay! So I'm so proud of that, and so yeah, thank you so much. And I think we'll get started. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you all, and it'll start with the intro for the company and who we are. 1 second. Share this. Okay. You all able to see that? The presentation, perfect. Okay, and here we go. Alrighty. So I'd like to begin by asking the question we ask every client: have you left your mark? And as we know, we always leave a dogs always leave a mark. So it's important that you leave your mark. In this case, we're talking about a mark as your brand. So it's important that wherever you go and how you represent in your ministry, what are you leaving behind, and what's the indelible mark that you're leaving on the community or the membership that you're serving? So we want to talk about brand. An effective brand strategy gives you a major edge in increasingly worship experience markets. So it's important that your brand is held tight and that is marketable of both print as well as multimedia platforms like social media and on web. Branding, simply put, is your promise to your members. It tells them what they can expect from your ministry, and it differentiates you from your offering, what you offer other churches. So it differentiates what you do, what other churches do as well. Your brand ministry is derived from who you are, who you want to be, and who people perceive you to be. It's really important to understand that as well too on creating your brand. Brand asks the questions of the who, the how, the why, the when, and the where. Every time that you put something out with your ministry, these questions should be answered at all times so that a person understands who you are, why you do what you do, how you do what you do, and what it is that you want that person to leave with once they leave your presence or your ministry. Why is brand important? I think that's a question that we all have to ask ourselves and always speak and hold true to that, because it is very important. Brand is important because not only is it what makes a memorable impression on members, but allows your members to know what to expect from your ministry. There are many areas that you use to develop a brand, including advertising, service, promotion, merchandise, reputation, and logo. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how your brand should be synonymous on all platforms, be it if you're using it on merchandise, your ministry in large, whether it's in a printed material like a brochure, pamphlet, or if it's online in a video, YouTube video, or even live streaming your ministry or your worship services. So we begin with the mark. As I stated on the first slide, you leave a mark. And so today I want to show 2 marks that we've already established with some of the churches that's within our family. So the foundation of your brand is your logo, your website, packaging, and promotional materials, all of which should integrate your logo, communicating your brand. So it all begins with a mark. So in this mark, you also want to make sure that you're present both on web, and you also want to be present in printed material. So there's like brochure work, any type of leave behind pamphlet that talks about your ministry, what you do, and how you do what you do. And so you want to make sure that's always at the forefront. Marketing strategies. Your brand strategy is how, what, where, and when, and to whom you plan on communicating and delivering on your brand messages. When you advertise, part of your brand strategy. Your distribution channels are also part of your brand strategy. And what you communicate visually and verbally is part of your brand strategy too. All this leads to a great marketing material for your ministry. So we want to start with print, web, and social media. These are the top 3 that you want to make sure that your brand is consistent across these platforms. Let's talk about print. So traditionally, we know print. Back in my early years, I used to work at a printing company, so I worked on a nice Heidelberg press, which is a huge press. And so I understand 4-color printing on a web press, newspapers, brochures, things like that. And so it's really an effective way of communicating your brand as well. So we begin with print. When it comes to modern marketing, many people are under the impression that digital space is where they should be spending their time and money. While it's true that your company's website, your company's website, email, social media can't be ignored. The idea that print is dead has been proven to be a myth and time again. Not only does print marketing still have value in its own right, it can also greatly advance digital campaigns. So they work together. So again, as I stated earlier, that your brand should be the same as it is in the print world, as well as in your digital and multimedia world as well. When digital and print marketing are used together, the number of responses users your company receives will be higher than it was if you were going on one route or the other. So they need to work together. And so that's what we got off of online. You'll see how that really works together as we proceed more in this presentation. Web. If you're a ministry lead on the fence about creating a website, I'll save you some time. You need one, a good one, a professional design, eye-catching worship experience, brand differentiating website. You definitely want to have one. I would say you want to pause and make sure that you put all your eggs in that basket, make sure you have an effective website to complement your print brand that you already have existing. So there are only 4 steps to building your own website. As I stated earlier, have you left your mark? On the web, you want to make sure that you have followed these 4 steps to create an effective website for your brand. Step 1, choose what platform your site is going to be built on. The first thing you need to do is choose that website platform to build your website on. There are many different CMS, which is the content management systems, to build your site on. Step 2, your website needs a name and a home. So I like to say that when you're doing a website, some of this probably be repetitive. You may already know this, but I'll just go through it for the sake of those who may not know. I'm trying to look at a website as this. A website is like your house. And then you actually have to have a web hosting platform. So where your furniture is kind of stored in the warehouse, that's kind of the web hosting side. So that your website then sits in this warehouse, and then when you type in that web address, it goes to view your website. So you want to make sure that you have both those things connected. Also, you would like to come up with a nice creative name for your website. If it's either the name of your church, or it could be whatever your tag on is for your church. And so one of the examples would be at our church here in Atlanta, we're Rehoboth Fellowship Church Atlanta. However, our motto is God has made room for us. And so we made our website makeroomforme.com. So the website then turns into our brand tagline that we use with our church being Rehoboth Fellowship Atlanta. So you want to make sure that you have a good brand for your domain name that points to your website. Again, it really will push your brand as well. So your brand could be either the church name, your ministry name, or a tagline that you have made a connection to your ministry. Step 3, set up your WordPress website and making it look professional. You want to make sure that you set up your platform and make sure you put nice graphics, nice photos that represent who you are and what you do and how you do what you do. While WordPress platforms are so easy to use, it's intuitive. They are both synonymous. We call them responsive because they show well on mobile devices as well as on tablets, so that if you're either on a desktop, laptop, your mobile device, or your tablet, you still get the full internet experience with your website and viewing all your information the same. It won't cost you a thing, which is great about WordPress. It's free. Only thing you need to do is buy your domain name and set up a hosting platform. You're good to go. Now, one of the misleading things that with WordPress is that there are all different add-ons that you can do. Different add-ons now, that's where your cost comes in at. And so you'll see that there are add-ons if you're going to take paying things online, like you're gathering tithes and offerings online, or if you're selling merchandise online. These different apps you can add to your WordPress site, but they do come at a cost. And the cost varies from which entity that you decide to use. And all that stuff, you can find various different outlets you can add to your WordPress site that will allow you to share data and also collect data from your membership and to have a robust website where you can continue and push your brand. Step 4 is adding content to your new WordPress site. You definitely want to establish a WordPress site that allows you to add content to it. Anyone can add content to a WordPress site. It's a really minimal training that you can do. You probably can have your church admin, or definitely have a marketing team or a design team within your church organization that can constantly add content to your website and keep your brand functioning. Now, our social media platforms. Here's where it gets crucial, because now we're merging the two with social media and print. Given the pandemic that we've been in, social media has played a huge role in ministry right now. And so it's important that you stay on the cutting edge of the social media platforms that we currently have. In social media, today's relationships begin, grow, and end on social media. People no longer need a personal handshake or face-to-face meetings. Everybody's online. One of the downsides about this is that communication is kind of gone, because everybody now is on their cell phone, the tablet. You ever go to dinner and you sit in a restaurant and you just watch everybody is at a table, everybody's head is down on the phone. And so no one is talking to each other anymore. So there's a plus and a minus to that. So one of the minuses is that we have lost that sense of being able to talk to each other. But the plus is you can still get a lot of information at the same time. So therefore, you want to make sure that your ministry and your brand is present on these social media platforms. So if folks are distracted with something else at dinner, at least they can get your message and your ministry right in the palm of their hands. So let's start with the top 4. Facebook. This is easily the largest social media networking site in the world, one of the most widely used, and Facebook was perhaps the first that surpassed the landmark of 1 billion user accounts. Facebook is tremendous, it works well, and is very user-friendly. You also want to make sure you have an Instagram account. Instagram was launched as a unique social networking platform that was completely based on sharing photos and videos. This photo-sharing social media network app enables you to capture the best moments of your life and your ministry and what you all are doing in your ministry. So it really is a great platform. A lot of our younger folks use Instagram a lot because they're constantly taking selfies and photos of themselves and different things, and they can also help promote your brand and your product using Instagram. Twitter. This social network enables Product short text messages called tweets contain a limited number of characters, up to 280 characters, to convey your message to the world. With the growing craze of online shopping, Twitter also makes it possible to promote your business and even shop directly through your tweets. So if your ministries are in the process of selling, you may sell books, you might sell ministry tapes, you may have certain videos of your sermons. You can do all that and do a quick tweet and tweet that out, and it will send people back to your website so they can purchase said items on your website as you still promote your brand and market materials that your ministry is producing. It's a great platform to push quick sales. Now, one of the things that has been great right now during the pandemic has been live streaming. Live streaming has been great. You want to make sure you have a YouTube account so that you can enable your live streaming virtually. You can have worship service anywhere. The greatest thing about this is that your members can, if they miss a Sunday, they can always come back like on a Monday or a Tuesday, go to your site, and they can view that particular Sunday sermon. Or if it was a sermon they loved back in April, they can go back now from June and go to April and look at that sermon again. And if it was something that they missed or want to hear it again or share it with a family member or another friend, they can go back onto that platform and view that and still see that sermon again. So live streaming has become really crucial in what we're doing today's branding in our church ministries. Here's like an example just of some live streams I wanted to just show you very briefly. We always do our opening dialogue on our live streaming. So this is like the little wait, and then when it comes on board, so give people enough time to get themselves adjusted. And here's our welcoming screen. Again, being able to utilize video with your ministry helps keep the brand going. It keeps the viewer interested, and it keeps them engaged in what's about to happen. It also delivers a powerful message. This is all through your video streaming, live streaming online at any given time. I will fast forward this just a second. We also can include a countdown. So as everyone is getting ready, there will be a countdown that can appear on your live streaming as opposed to preparing themselves for today's worship experience.
God has made room. God has made room. If you really believe God has made room for you, I need about 100 people to get on your feet. And I need y'all to spend with us tonight. Praise the Lord. Praise
this is how you enter into your live
all
stream.
you people of the Lord. If you know that all of your help comes from the Lord, would you join me in giving God a hand clap of praise? Come on. Hallelujah.
That is live streaming. So as a ministry lead, you need to know investing in a digital marketing strategy is smart. Social media, websites, and search engines shape opinions about your ministry. Long before your members walk through your doors, online advertising helps you reach them where they are. Again, most folks are on phones, on tablets. You definitely want to make sure your message is there and clear. But how do you connect your online strategy with offline branding? How do you judge the effectiveness of digital channels to ensure your message is being delivered? Here's how. Know where your members engage with and engage with them online. Each step of your members' journey contributes to the decision to stay a part of your ministry. Every step, whether it's reading an inspirational message, scrolling your Facebook page, downloading videos, live streaming, or clicking a display ad, must be identified before you know which switch points have the biggest impact. So you want to be clear around how your members engage online. So your social media, your marketing team, your church, and your ministry can be clear on that and understand where we need to put effective branding or messaging so that we can reach all members and potential members at any given time. Use smart tools to better understand the journey. Smart tools, one would be Google Analytics. Once you set up your website and you have a web hosting platform, you can do your Google Analytics, which comes free with your web hosting platform. It allows you to get a clear shot, a snapshot of how many users you have, when your visitors are coming to your site, what time of day they come to your site, how long they spend on your site, and which browser they're using. all of those things become important to you as a ministry because you can tell where you should advertise at and what times you should push more of your advertisements to talk about sermon titles for that particular Sunday or different events that your organization might be doing during that month or that week. You'll know when is the best time to promote those things because your Google Analytics will tell you when is the most time you're getting the traffic and what's the best time for you to advertise. You can capture interest by personalizing and contextualizing digital ads. So that means that make sure that your ads are clear and concise around what you're trying to do. You want to make sure that you be short, you want to be to the point, large, bold captions, just to get a person's interest, and then have them to click on a button that can take them back to your website to get further more information where they can read more. But a digital message should be something really clear and can go through very instant. So that's pretty much what we have for that. I want to take questions at any given time, and I just leave it asking you, have you left your mark? And we should begin leaving the mark. And so I would like to open the floor for any questions anyone may have for me, or I can go back over any slide if you would like to see something, or if anything that I missed, if you need some clarity on it, I can take any questions now.
I have a couple of questions about website stuff.
Yes.
First of all, relates to how you choose who is your web host. I know that there are lots of different web hosting folks out there, and I know we have something, and somebody's like, "Oh, we could get this for cheaper." And I understand what you said about like WordPress. Our site's through WordPress.
Yes.
Our host is not through WordPress, but I'm just curious about how you know who is a good web hosting site, and also if you have any pointers on what you think kind of a good contemporary looking website looks like or needs to include versus something that would be considered more outdated.
Yes, that's a great question. So as a shameless plug, EM Design Group is a great web hosting company to use. So we have our web hosting company called EM Connects, and we also offer platforms to do WordPress, HTML5 sites, and also e-commerce sites as well. So if you get a chance, you can go to emconnects.com and look at us. But there are several out there. One of the biggest ones, of course, is GoDaddy.com. It's a great hosting platform. There's also HostGator, which is out there. There's also there's one called Weebly. Now Weebly, they're okay. We worked with them before, but there were some things about them I didn't like. And this will lead to the second part of your question too. You want to make sure that you're on a web hosting that has a large gigabyte of transfer speed. So you want to do at least 1 to 5 gigabytes of transfer speed. Now, the reason why that's important, just keep in mind, you have a ministry, so you're reaching 500 to 1,000 people. They need to be able to view your site at the same time and not feel stuck or get stuck or things are loading slowly because it's too much traffic. So you want to make sure that you get with a hosting company that can handle all of that. So those would be important questions to ask them. You also want to make sure that you have a hosting company that has a good backup storage drive for your site. Anything goes wrong, there's a power outage, something happens, your site is still backed up, so you do not lose all of your material, your information. Lastly, you want to make sure that you're on a secure website hosting plan. Secure websites come in handy because if you are taking payments like offering, tithes and offering, donations online, you want to make sure that's protected, that a person's privacy is protected, and it is not shared with other folks. So all those are questions you should ask any of those web hosting providers to make sure those, at least those top 3 are fine. And you can always tell a website if it does not have a little lock icon in the corner when you type in a domain name, do not use it, because that lock icon represents that it is a secured website. So you want to make sure that as a church organization, as a ministry, you want to make sure that your site is secured, and you can get that with a secured SSL certificate on your site. Was that? Did I get that answer all that for you?
That was there, and then I had the second question about what sort of qualities you think are important for a contemporary versus outdated website.
Yes. Well, I tell you, let me speak on this behalf. I think given what social media has offered now, most people are less likely to do a lot of reading, but they will watch a lot of stuff. So video presence is so important. I tell you, the best thing to do is get you a nice YouTube channel make sure that you can have YouTube that will tie into your website. Videos work very well. Quick messages through video is really good. And also photos. Even if you're doing an advertisement, it should be quick, bold highlights, quick, bold headers, and that's it. You want to save a lot of your text for something they can dive into your website later, but the very forefront should be a nice video presence, nice images, different graphics that will just get a quick read, just a quick read. That's how you want to make sure you have it contemporary. And I say make sure that you keep the branded colors of your logo. So if your church logo, let's say your logo is purple and gold, you want to make sure that color is throughout the website too. You want to keep that balance so that folks aren't all over the place with various colors. You can be inundated with too much color, and so that can also be a distraction as well too. Now, the other thing too, you want to make sure you don't have a lot of stuff flying across the screen. I think that sometimes folks get excited and they put all kind of widgets on their website. Be careful of all the fancy razzle and dazzles. Too much of that to someone. I had issues with a client before they had vertigo. And they said, every time they went to my site, it was too much going on, it was too much flash stuff, so they got dizzy. And so we lost them as images. So you want to keep all that in mind too, that you don't have too much going on, but just enough that will keep a client interested. And what we found out is that videos work well, images, photos work well, and just really large captions and less textual information. If you can put most information in a video, you're good to go. Next question. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I have a question for the team then. Using your website, has it been effective in your ministry doing a website or having like a streaming virtual service? How effective has that been for some of you all in your ministry? And are you using that platform? Are you using like a YouTube streaming or Facebook Live to stream your services? Yes.
We're one of many smaller congregations, and so we don't have enough members of our YouTube channel to live stream directly onto YouTube. So we have to go through Facebook and then transfer it. So that's one issue for you to be aware of for the many small congregations in the UCC. The second, though, is that because we're a smaller congregation, we didn't have a big tech budget, and we're having to try to gradually ramp up, gradually find out what's essential. And, we just started live streaming. I don't think the quality is good enough yet. But, that I think is probably an issue for other congregations besides ours. Yes. So could you speak to that?
I would love to, thank you. So I believe that with your startup organization, you're smaller, I would say the first thing to do is you can get with your own webcam. So if you have your laptop with a webcam, small messages off a webcam that you post on Facebook will be great. And you can build your audience that way. If you start delivering inspirational, we always call them inspirational vitamins. Say you do an inspirational vitamin 3 times a week, a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. Viewers will get used to making sure they come to your Facebook page and they will get that vitamin those 3 times a week. What we've learned is that if you post at least 3 times a week consistently, you will gain an audience that will stay faithful and true to what you're doing. So that is a great way to get it started. As that grows, then your budget will grow, and then you can start moving to a platform where then you start doing a streaming live. Now, the same thing with streaming live, you can take that same webcam, that same laptop, and just do a live stream of yourself. And just have a sermon done right there. And then as that grows, you can start adding some music to it. The other thing too is that you can also, there are some free downloads. You can have free hymns. You can have free videos of songs that you can play in the background, do all that. There's a iStock photo that gives a lot of those things as well too. You can join those and get some free downloads. And it's also the YouTube as well, where you can stream some songs to get that working right from your webcam, and you can do that. So there are ways of getting around it, even as a small congregation, and you can grow into something more large. So I would recommend doing like some smaller inspirational vitamin clips using the webcam and your laptop, and start pushing that on Facebook. And as your numbers grow, then you can then expand it and grow more with that.
Well, so it sounds to me, maybe I misunderstand, like you're suggesting not start with what we think of, what I thought of as live streaming an actual service. We are doing in-person services with, as someone mentioned in our prior workshop I was in, about half the people that we used to have.
Yes.
And I understand that, the multitude of reasons for that, and that it may become the new normal, but nevertheless, for the people who are there, that's really important. But it sounds like when you're talking about live streaming, you're talking about something that's almost a virtual experience.
Yes. So
am I misunderstanding?
No, you're right on point. So I think it's both. It's the virtual experience and live stream is one and the same. For example, if you are now communicating, if you're congregating together in a sanctuary, you can have a dedicated member that might be sitting on the front row and can have their phone.
Yeah, we do.
But they can live stream that right there. So
right.
For folks who can't get there, you can have a dedicated person that's doing that, right? So that's a live streaming right there that you can do.
Right. That much we got.
Yes. Now, what they can do, you can still save that same live stream is saved on that platform, which goes.
Yes. Okay. But how do we, our problem is that when we try like posting hymn lyrics in front of that camera during the service, that it's hard to read because it's just, and maybe it'll get better. We're going to move our camera, but it's, I don't know.
Exactly. So now that becomes where I say we need to upgrade as you grow more, because you probably have to put larger cameras in the sanctuary to see that. For example, you can put a large camera, a webcam at the very back of the church on the top, or if you have a large screen that is projected on, then sometimes you may have that focused on that screen where the lyrics are, and then they can show that as well too. Another thing I recommend is that using an iPad as opposed to using a cell phone because it's smaller. If you have an iPad, and you're filming it, it's a larger screen, so therefore you get more, you can cover more using filming your iPad, the service. And so I do that, and that would be another way of capturing it, if that helps.
So, I mean, it's going to have the same picture, but what is it, like a better resolution if it's on the iPad because there's more pixels there?
Yes, because it's larger, you get a better resolution on the iPad, correct, than on your iPhone.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? That's a great question, though. Thank you. Yes.
Maurice, I'm really proud of Peace Church where I am in Clemson, South Carolina. I'm Trisha. We're about a 30, 40 member church, and I'm really proud. Jody Usher is a member of our church. She's here today. And
great.
Jody and their team's done a great job. We have a hybrid service now, which is virtual and in person. Yes. And I hear Beverly's challenges. It is very hard. And the members of the church, not the pastor who's busy, the members of the church have taken care of working on that. But I really appreciate what you said about the website and the colors, because we just are presenting a new branding that we've done. And it does not match, the colors on our website don't match that branding, and to really be synonymous with all of that throughout. Now, it looks like the print publications, I'm kind of a new pastor sort of there, but that's an opportunity for us, I think, to be synonymous with our website and just to continue that branding all throughout. And so some of the things you brought up today have been really, really helpful. And some of the things you've mentioned have been a dream list for me. And so it's good just to be reminded of that dream list. So thank you for all that you brought us today.
Wow, well, thank you for that as well. I'm happy for you. Keep in mind that we, like I said, it all begins with the mark. And so we just take gradual steps as we grow into this. So we're all learning every day, every Sunday, we learn something new, even in our worship experience too. And so it's always changing. The interesting thing is that here's what I tell people. Say, if anyone is a designer, you have a design team, I like to use there are three major software we use from Adobe. It's Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. Everyone knows that in Illustrator and Photoshop, you can have 10 people do 10 different things, and then all 10 will say, oh, I didn't know you could do that in Photoshop. Because the program, it changes every day, and you find something new to do. So there really is never a wrong way or a right way. It's just always found a new way. And so that's one of the great things about this whole piece that we're doing with this whole digital platform now. And so that we're always going and changing. And so every Sunday, you'll find new ways to communicate to your members. And the cool thing is that as long as we keep a listening ear to what members are asking for, because they'll also tell you and then you'll know what you to do. So I think that's great. So thank you so much for offering that too as well.
I have a question for you. I'm having a hard time identifying someone to do the media ministry. Do you have a job description? What would you suggest as how we set a job description to identify someone to work with that ministry?
But yes, we do have a job description. I tell you, if you can chat me your email address, I can even email you and send you what we have that we send out to our members, to the membership team.
Okay.
I am the lead on our media ministry, so we do have like a SOP that we have put together that we send out to anyone who's interested in doing that. But the first thing is always a call to, if there's anyone who has a heart and a passion, you know, that's the first thing, because you can be tech savvy, but if you have a heart, no passion for this ministry, it's no good for us, because it's going to take that. And I think that that's step one. The other two is that you'd be surprised as when we open it up. So if a person likes to take photographs, you're hired. I love it. We need someone that can take photographs. If there's someone that can write well, oh yes, we need someone that can write content. So you start that way first. But I will send you a list of what we asked for. But you definitely want to have someone that has a strong graphic background, because you need to understand that. You want a technology person that understands web and internet and interface technology, so they understand that language. Again, as a pastor, as a ministry, you don't need to know it all. You just need to know the pieces to connect them. And so the goal is that you do not have to be a master, none of that. I just need to know that I know that you can do this, I know that she can do that, I know that he can do that, and bring it all together. Now y'all make it happen. And that's the important thing too. But I will, if you text me your information, I will send you the SOP that we have, and it kind of outlines what we have put together for what you can ask for and what you can be looking for in your congregation to set up your media team.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question. Anyone else? This is great. I love it.
I have another question.
Yeah.
With the social media, I know that there are things that will allow you to like post. It's like, you know, it's a lot of work to go and post something on Facebook and then go and post it on Twitter and then go and post it on Instagram, especially because you want I mean, each of those kind of has their own different look. I know that there are things that like combine that.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit more about that? And is there anything in that that you would recommend, especially at a lower price point?
Yes. There's an awesome program called Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE. Go to Hootsuite. Hootsuite has it's 3 different levels. You can be like an advanced and premium in terms of pricing. Some are like $6.99 a month. There's one that's just free too, but it has limited availability to what you can do. But here's the core for Hootsuite. Hootsuite allows you to do one post that will go to all those social media platforms. So I can do one post that will go to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the same time. And so it is great. We use it all the time. I think it's fantastic. And you'll notice that if you go and do a trial of it, I think it's an easy fix and something that you'll grow to like. And I recommend that a lot. I think Hootsuite is really good. Again, Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE. Another thing too is that in your ministry, if you can gather some of your young people together, their interests will push Instagram. They love Instagram. And I tell you, it's a great job to have young people on Instagram, because they will push that, and you'd be surprised how far your brand and your ministry can go on Instagram, and the amount of people it can reach just on Instagram. Also with Instagram, then it goes like to Periscope that they do too. There are links with that as well. Now Instagram has a link that goes right to Facebook. So as you're posting things on Facebook, that same post can appear on Instagram as well. So whereas maybe some of us who are a little older might only live on Facebook, but the same things that we're putting on Facebook will show up on Instagram. So we're reaching a whole nother audience, even though we're not necessarily Instagram user or follow, but we're still posting stuff to that. And then you get your younger folks that can push that as well for you. And I think that both those platforms talk to each other and work well. And Instagram has a great function with video and photos. I mean, you can really do a lot of video on Instagram, really quick snapshots, quick infomercials. I tell you one thing that works well is even after a service in the ministry, you can just have, sometimes you get a young person say, why don't you go interview some people and ask them what do they think about today's sermon? And a quick Instagram shot of that goes far, and it will really push your brand and get a lot more people interested in your ministry, because it'll see the effect you're having on young people. It will also show the effect that your message is having on the world in general and the community in which you're serving. Anybody else? Also, I wonder also.
You have 2 questions in the chat as well.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me go to that. Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. Okay, all right. I will start. I'm going to start from the top, come down. So one came at 10:52 from. Okay, Barbara Dixon said, "If WordPress as a host is slow, would you do recommend how do you connect your web host to your WordPress?" Okay, so keep in mind that a WordPress site is available on any on most web hosting platforms. So WordPress is a device that you use, and it can be put on any web hosting platform. So that's it. So it isn't necessarily that the WordPress is slow. It might be the site that you're hosting on could be slow, which is why I stated that you want to make sure that you host with a hosting plan that has a large gigabyte of transfer speed. So you want to make sure that at least you have like a 1.5 gigabyte transfer speed or greater, so that you won't fall into that where it's like choppy. And you can tell you go to a website where things get choppy and they kind of fade and fade out. You don't want that. And so you want to make sure that you have a web hosting platform that gives you good transfer speed, and that will help your website have a good flow on that. So that would be an answer for that one. Okay, all right. I will make sure that I give you the job description too, Jennifer Sanders. I'll make sure I'll send that over to you as well. Okay. All right. Thank you. What I'll do, I can also make that SOP. We'll see how we can make this available to everyone. Is there a way I can do that? So I can kind of send it maybe to you as a host. Let me make sure everyone can get that SOP. I think I'll do that. Therefore, because I see that's important. So I'll make sure that's available for everyone to grab a copy of that. So we have not, let's see, I'm asking the question, do y'all engage with TikTok? How was your experience with that? So as a minister, we have not engaged with TikTok. I have. It's interesting. So again, I think that when you start dealing with your young congregation, they tend to love TikTok. I think it's great. Any tool can help spread the word. I think that's nice too. So I would say, yes, go at it. Some of those new gadgets, you have to just make sure you monitor it well. TikTok can get a little racy, so you have to be careful with that. But I would say, like TikTok, Periscope, those things, you have to just monitor that and make sure that your content is keeping with your brand and is keeping with your philosophy and your beliefs too. But I think, yes, it does help, and it is a great platform to use. Now, Snapchat. I like Snapchat too, but again, that falls underneath that too. Snapchat, given how a lot of folks have went left with Snapchat, you can find a lot of crazy things in this. You want to make sure you just monitor, get someone that's going to monitor your brand and make sure that it's just not a lot of kind of crazy things that's posted on your Snapchat channel. So you just have to monitor that a lot more closely. But I think it is an effective, and a lot of folks are on Snapchat as well. Looking at some more of these questions. All right. Are there any other questions yet?
Maurice, I was going to ask. So, what advice do you have to really watch out for a church spreading its information in social media? What advice? There are some worst case scenarios.
Yes, it is. And I tell you, so what you want to do is, again, when you set up your media ministry team, whether it's 2, 3, 5, or 10, you just want to make sure that there's a core group, at least 3 people who are constantly checking your social media platforms. So you want to go through it. Again, some things you might miss, but we can catch things. So again, even when I stated earlier with the Google Analytics, you can tell when your website is being viewed at the most times. At that time, you might want to have someone from the team just available as a standby to say, oh, let me block that, let me take that off. So you kind of see that, and you'll grow to know that as you start working on your web presence more, you'll see when most people are responding to you. Now, keep in mind, usually when you post something, then you got folks who are really looking at it and they're ready to post right back. So you can manage it at that time. So even when you're in the midst of posting, then you can give yourself an additional 10 or 15 minutes to respond or to go through and make sure nothing foul has been added to your social media platforms. So yeah, that's a great question. I think that that's what we do. We just usually follow up right behind the post. What you don't want to do is post something, just leave it and just walk away, because you want to be careful with that. You want to stay engaged as well. So you just don't keep it wide open, because things can happen, and they do, and they really do. We've had some crazy stuff that happens as well too. Anybody else?
I just wanted to add something real quick too. There are issues of copyright and whatnot, especially if you're trying to stream worship services and like intellectual properties. I just wanted to make sure that people know that Heather Kimmel, the UCC's legal counsel, actually has some videos up on our website with the webinars that have been going on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's some really good content on there that you want to make sure you're checking out too.
Awesome, thank you. Yes. I also believe that too, if you're going to do any like live streaming, or if you're going to put video content, you have music, you also want to make sure that you put like a copyright allowance about it, saying that you do not have the rights to this music, or that it belongs to this particular artist. Make sure you put that disclaimer on there that you do not own the rights to the music, and so it can be clear. Now, if you're going to use YouTube, most of the time, if you do that and you do not put any type of language like that, YouTube will block you. YouTube will send you a text to say that we are pulling this video because you do not have copyright laws on this, and so that will happen as well too. So you want to keep that in mind, and that goes right back to, again, Mary Ruth, what you were asking. You want to make sure that you look at that your media team sees things like that, so you can catch that, because what you don't want is someone to go into your page and it says there's a big headline that says this page has been removed or has been cut off because of copyright infringement. So you want to make sure that your team is constantly looking at that, and make sure that you have the right information there so that you're not caught in an infringement or copyright problem. Now, I do know that it sounds like it's a lot of work, but it really isn't. It sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. That's why you want to get a team of folk who just enjoy that, and they have a passion for it, and so it becomes an everyday thing. So to the average person, you're like, oh my God, this seems like so much, but it really isn't. Because keep in mind, more than half the world is on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter all day. Most folks are getting in trouble in their job because they're too busy on social media and not working. So I think that, it's become like our second language. So we're on there, and we just want to make sure we get a dedicated team that can help us keep our brand together. And then watch out for each other's brand. So, we all have sister churches and sister communities. So, be on the watch out for your other sister church as well. Making sure that you can send a message. Hey, listen, I saw this content on your site. Are you sure you want this on there? So those type of things too, because we all need to help each other, especially as a united organization that we are. It will help all of us to be open eyes, open ears to what's going on with each of our sanctuaries. Yes, ma'am. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm going to reveal my ignorance. So when you talk about other content being posted on your site, are you saying that like in the response things under, for example, the Facebook video or the YouTube video, that people just post their own content there?
Well, you're asking,
or is it written responses that you're referring to? We were aware of the need to monitor those.
Yes, I said like both, because sometimes people can put some videos on that don't necessarily agree with the philosophy of their ministry. You can remove it, or block that user.
Okay, so they do that by responding to one of your videos or one of the things that you've put on your channel. Is that how they do it?
Correct. Sometimes do that. Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. Now, keep in mind, there are some people, unfortunately, that just go out and just put foolish things out on everybody's site. And so, again, when you see that, we just block them, remove that. But most of the time, it's a direct response to something you've already posted. But then there are some people who just go out and will just add things on there, and you would have a team that will go through it every now and then and make sure things stay clean and stay in line to what your philosophy is or what your ministry is. That's a great question. Thank you. Yes. Tricia.
I know I just met Troy recently, so I know your senior pastor. He's great. Does Troy or do other pastors have? I know the last church I worked, we only let the sermon stay on the website for a certain amount of time because of concerns, which of course we could talk about. But do you have a suggestion, Maurice, on how long, if you post sermons or worship services, how long they should stay posted publicly?
Well, so, we have not had that issue. So we've kept ours up. So again, if you go to our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel, you'll see sermons all the way from last year that are on there. And every now and then, especially at the end of the year, we do like an end of the year video and we showcase all that. And so people can go back and see certain things. But, you know, like anytime, like, you know how when you pack up for when you change seasons, so you pack up your summer gear because you got to get ready for the winter. We do the same with sermons. So you pack up, that was a series, you pack that series up, you put it in the vault, and then you post the new things. On your website, you can have a section on your website where all your videos can be, and then you can either have a login, so people can get a password to log into a certain section and get old stuff, or you can just have an archive. And
Like a sermon archive. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's great too. So then you always keep them that way as well.
But you don't have them in print, do you? You only have video, right? You don't have print.
No, so here's what we used to do. I'll tell you, prior to the pandemic, we used to burn DVDs of all Bishop Lex, all of his sermons. So we used to sell the DVDs, and then we started doing this stuff with the virtual services. So you have a collection where folks could buy a DVD, and they had it, and they could see it anytime they wanted to. Then everyone started going digital and virtual. So now you can all do the same because you can go back to our YouTube page and get that. So, you know, you can kind of have both things because there are some folks who still want a hard copy in their hand. So, you know, we have some DVDs as well too. So I think both is great. But right now, digital is the leading way to do it. And it's easier to manage the digital platforms as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see, I think there's some other questions in here. Okay, nope, all right. Any other questions for me? This is great. Oh, I love this. You all are excellent today. I like this. So I tell you, if anyone is having any issues with, like again, with finding a host for your website or even a domain name, you are more than welcome to always inbox me or send me an email or a text. My email address is mcook@emdesignsgroup.com. Again, that's mcook@emdesignsgroup.com. And our website is emdesignsgroup.com. Please feel free to, any question you have later for that. And we can also make this presentation available for you can have. You can keep it on your own so you can see it and view it time and time again. So we'll make this available as well. And we'll also put the SOP out for you all to see. But I also believe that, I think that the branding that we're speaking about for our ministry and as we're moving forward, you know, it's more than just a one-time thing. And so I think it's an ongoing discussion we can have. So I'm always open to have discussion and answer any questions for you all. Our goal really is to make sure that everyone can have an effective brand in this ministry because we're all working together to do kingdom building. That's what we're doing. So the goal is that we want to make sure that all roads leads to Christ. And so we want to make sure that all of us are making sure that it's several pathways to get to grandma's house, as long as we get there. And so all these roads that we're coming up with, and so you may have another direction that I may be unaware of, and so you can share your direction with me, I'll share mine with you, but we're all going to get there. And so at the end of the day, the main goal is that we're kingdom building. And I think that's important. And I think that, you know, each one can teach one. And so I'm excited about just this forum that we have in here and should see how far we can go even from this as well too. Let's see. Donate to reset. If you donate to reset the conference. Okay, gotcha. All right. Are there any? Yes, sir. Bert.
Hi. A major part of our brand is to be a local church of the United Church of Christ. The UCC is really an important marketing thing for us because, of course, we have the Churches of Christ as kind of a #1 competitor in many ways.
Yes.
What kind of support can the Cleveland office or the media people with the UCC provide to local churches that would help us out on this or provide us with some pre-prepared materials that we would be able to adapt appropriately?
So you said what type of information should the UCC provide to all the churches in the organization?
Well, I'll just say general denominational support from the UCC to help promote the UCC brand. It's a major part of our brand as well.
Exactly. Well, so one of the things I would also think that's important is that on each church's website, there should be a logo of UCC and a link that goes back to the movement's website in general, because that creates a direct link right back to where we're all housed under. again, so it feels like we're not out on our own, but it's clear we're all a part of a greater organization. And so that would be the first thing. The other thing is that I think that the greater body you see can help each individual church with different language and terminology so that there's always open communication for what each church might need. So I think it works both ways, but the main thing would be to make sure there's a presence where there's a UCC logo in the corner of every website. Even every time you post, maybe if you're posting a flyer or an event, there's always a UCC logo on the bottom, just so that it gives the message and the brand out that we're part of a large organization. I think that would help as well too. And it's a good promotional piece for both sides too as well. So, and it keeps the brand going.
There's on the website, and I was trying to find it, but and Piwa may have it, but there you can download the logos with the brand standards for like, and you can do it in rainbow, and you can do it in the the different blue colors, and you can get it in black and white, and like there are things that say just plain UCC and different kind of stuff. So there is, at least for the actual sort of logo brand, you can find that on the UCC website, downloadable in different sizes and formats.
I just put the link in the.
Yeah, I see it right there. Yes, the standards. And that's a good point, because I think that for each church ministry, each church should have your standards for your logo as well too. Like we have one as well. You want to make sure that if another organization is using your logo, so our logo is orange. So if we see it in purple, we're like, no, that's not our brand. So you affect our brand if you make our logo purple when we're orange. Because that orange represents and means something to us. And so you want to make sure that you have those brand standards for each of your logos. Even photos, for example, if you're a ministry lead or a pastor of a church, you have a photo, and sometimes your photo may appear on someone's flyer. There's a certain photo that you want on certain flyers, and like so you may want a photo in full robe, but you may want a casual photo and this type thing. So you want to have those standards as well on your website, where a person can download that information too, and not just pull stuff randomly off of a Facebook post, things like that too. So all those are where your media ministry team comes in handy to make sure that there's an SOP for all that as well too, on how to handle images of the church, how to handle images of the church logo, and even how to handle images of the leadership or pastors of the church as well too. Anything else?
I'm not sure I understand the kernel of what you just said.
Oh, okay. I was talking about in terms of with your logo, setting up.
Yeah, what is it you're trying to protect or achieve with?
Correct. So there are three things that can happen. Now that we're in a social media world, as soon as you post a flyer out or you put something online, people just take your image and put and apply to anything.
Okay.
For example, someone is doing a seminar, and if you were a guest speaker, well, you may have certain photos that you only want to go out that, but then they just pull anything. So your media ministry team will say, here, use this photo, and use that, and so, or use this logo and things like that, and it comes with guidelines. And so I think that just becomes important, but keeping your brand consistent no matter where it's shown at.
Who gets the guidelines? I mean, if other people are going to abuse it, I mean, I'm not quite sure.
Yes. So for example,
the practical part of this.
Yeah. So, again, say you have a team, your media team, and you're going to be a guest speaker at St. Mark's 35th anniversary. They need a photo of you. You would tell your media team, I need you to send this photo such and such. The media team will send out with the rules of how to use the photo, things like that. That's what goes out to them. The reason you have it in place is that if someone just happens to grab an image of you off something because they want to put together a flyer, first of all, you can stop and say, like, no, you're not supposed to use that. And so that's a disclaimer, like, they just can't grab that and do that. And you just have a team that allows them to send out the right photo that you want to represent you and the brand. So that's what that's for. And this is up to you as an organization to kind of monitor your brand. Sometimes you can catch it, sometimes you can't. Because, you can't stop someone from grabbing something from off of a Facebook page, off a Twitter page, things like that. However, your team can always go back and press someone and say, that's the incorrect photo, please use this photo, if you're gonna do that. And so that's what that's for, just having that solid team in place.
I have kind of an example, like, although it's not a church one, but like I used to work at Birmingham Botanical Gardens. And at one point I created a flyer for an event that I was doing. And our brand guy, who was really on point about this stuff, our marketing guy came to me and said, great flyer, but it doesn't meet with our brand standards. Take it back to your computer and put it in the font that matches ours, and put the standard logo at the top, and change your heading so that it's like this. And then that matches and makes all of our stuff look like, has kind of the neatness of everything going together versus this kind of looking just like something you threw together, which in fact was what it was. So.
Yeah, exactly. That is so true. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
In my naivete as a youth leader way back when I was in my 20s, and even later on, Maurice makes a great point. You can go to Google Images and you can find stuff that I want for a youth retreat. And I find, so let's say something great at Maurice's church, and I'm like, oh, this looks great. It pops up because of some retreat they've done. I use their image, and you're exactly right. You can, I don't want to say steal because you don't mean to be stealing, but there's so much great stuff out there that you can unintentionally borrow. How does that sound? With a level of grace. Yeah.
You're right. I think that your team will be responsible for just kind of monitoring that. And some things you catch, some things you don't catch. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you can do it in a way that when it's a tight brand, it's very difficult for someone to use it because it will have your brand all over it. So they wouldn't be able to pull a corner from it because it has the brand that you already have on there. So that's another way you need to make sure your ministry as well.
I had two things. Hopefully they're really quick. One, I guess like essentially, right, a brand is like, it helps people recognize who you are, right? And so like I think it was, I don't remember who asked, but the branding guideline, right, would be for like internal use as well. So anytime, like let's say the youth pastor is trying to put together a flyer, or the senior pastor, or the musician, right? So like, you don't want like 20 different things coming out of like your one organization, because people don't realize that it's the same place that they're talking about, right? So a brand really kind of helps people realize, oh, okay, cool. This is, it's like Nike swoosh. Like you see that swoosh sign, you already have a level of quality that you expect, right? Kind of what Maurice was saying at the very beginning. It's like you're telling people who you are. So a brand helps kind of solidify that. And I would even argue nowadays, if you don't have like a solid brand, to me personally, others like me, I'm a little bit suspicious. I've already decided, okay, maybe your quality is not as good if you don't have a solid presence that is decided upon, right? So there are things that you are communicating that you maybe don't mean to communicate by not having a website or a brand, etc.
Yes.
The second thing I want to add really quickly, Unsplash, unsplash.com is like a photo search with like royalty-free images and stuff that you can use. You don't want to get into like stealing intellectual properties by accident. But I find like a lot of really stunning images that you can search by whatever topic on unsplash.com. I'll type it in the chat. Again, like, so you don't want to run into any issues. People are not usually finding you for like, doing copyright stuff, but they could. And, you don't want to get into that practice.
Well, thank you. I think that's a good point. And I, just in full transparency, when I first started my company, I've been in business now for 25 years. I would say about like in year number 5. I remember I pulled the image from off of something I thought was a simple flyer, and I put it on a website. Well, I was sued by the designer who did that, and it was a small suit, but they got like $5,000 out of me. Now the flyer that they did probably was $75, but however, I had to pay $5,000 because one, I had put it online. It went through thousands of people, so they probably exaggerated, but they said it went to millions of people. But the deal was that it was their image that I had to put on there because I just found it in my naivety at that time. I just kind of did a cut and paste and put it on there. And so I realized, it's really important that you just can't just do that anymore. And so there are other situations where you can go to different websites that have royalty-free images, and I had to learn that. So again, this is why it's important to share all this information with each of these ministries too, so that you don't fall in that category as well. So you just want to be careful and make sure that your brand is tight. I also want to add to what you said too, is that I use Coca-Cola as my example of tight brand. You have never seen Coke in any color but red. That Coke red is just solid. You don't see yellow and represent Coke. It's just red. That's what it is. And so you want to make sure that whatever brand colors you come up with, that your concept should be consistent. No matter where people see it, they recognize that that's you. So yes, good point. I think we definitely should check out licensing. Yes, licensing is really good too. You can always look that up online too.
Could you?
Yes.
Somebody put that on on the line? So we know how to spell it,
Which one?
the live streams or whatever. I mean, no, the second one after Unsplash.
Oh, Unsplash.com is royalty-free images.
Right, got that.
And then the second thing is just you can do about licensing. So you can just do a Google search on that, just type in licensing. You can get information on things that's being licensed, is what the second comment is about.
Okay, I thought you were giving another website for
No. You
content.
like for unsplash.com, for example, right? If you look at their licensing, you're allowed to use it for free elsewhere. They say like, it's nice if you would like, do like a little tagline with, here's the artist or whatever. There are other sites too. If you're on a website, if you want to use the image, sometimes they'll say like it's only for personal or like non-profit use.
Yeah, right.
It might be for commercial, so like each thing that you're about to grab, see if there's anything about on licensing. So it's not like a universal thing. It's just it's I guess item specific or website.
Right. Okay, I understand that part. I just thought I heard something else, but thank you so much.
And one other thing too is that which is always it's really easy to use. If you just Google royalty-free images, then Google will send you everywhere you need to go. You can get them royalty-free, and so they'll tell you here's what you can use. So that's always the safest and simplest way of finding the stuff you want. And you can also type in the category. You can say Google royalty-free desert scenes, and they'll just give you all the desert scenes that are royalty-free. So you can do that as well too, and that's where it comes in handy as well. So that's it too. Any other questions? Wow. All right. Let me see if I have anything else. I think that is it that I have for you. Yeah, so I'm pretty much done with everything I wanted to do on that. I'm glad that you all participated in the segment with me this morning. This has been great. And I look forward to seeing how you all are going to leave your mark after today's discussion. I'm also open to any emails you may want to send me or some comments, stuff like that, so I can help you out. Again, we are willing to help. If you need a logo design or a website design, you can always contact us. And even if you just need just some help or you want some information, we're free to give that to you as well too. So I want to be available to assist in any way that we can.
Okay, thank you, Maurice Cook, for the presentation. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Well, thank you so much for joining into this workshop.